I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. The worst SmackDown versus Raw game was SmackDown versus Raw 2008. Actually, no, I don't think it was. You know what? I'm gonna go aside from you here. Coming in at my number 12 is SmackDown versus Raw 2011. The only reason that I even popped this game in every now and then was A, so I could use Drew McIntyre and see his entrance pretty cool and make him world champion, and B, so I could maybe mess around with Story Creator. But I mean, I'd already gotten used that to its full potential on SmackDown vs. Raw 2010. So this game just really kind of bored the crap out of me. Not to mention they only replayed like 4 or 5 themes, so that got pretty annoying pretty quickly. And that's one of the things that kind of pissed me off about the game is that after 2010 they kind of just stopped using actual soundtracks and just used themes. Coming in at my number 11, SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. Now, the only thing that I really could not stand in this game was the fact that, they made GM mode into this 24/7 mode, and you couldn't have a season mode and a GM mode at the same time. And not only that, but the fact that they made GM mode, like, you had to do something every day. You couldn't just skip it, and then if you didn't, they kind of, like, punished you for it. And not only that, but then I don't know what it was. I mean, some of the roster, the only guys I really wanted to use was Mr. Kennedy, MVP, Undertaker, and I can't even think of someone else that I wanted to use. I mean, that just shows you. I mean, SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 was not that great. I will disagree with you. I did kind of like the soundtrack. Some of the songs were pretty stupid, but overall, I kind of liked the soundtrack. And it was the first game. It was JBL's debut game, so that's the only reason that it's not the worst. Coming in at my number 10, SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. The only thing that I thought was good about this game was the debut of Layla. Aside from that, okay, I'll give you that the roster was pretty good, but, I mean, they didn't do much with it. I mean, we killed off GM mode during this game. Season mode wasn't that special, and I just didn't have fun with this game at all. This was before Story Creator, so I didn't really like this game at all. I thought SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 was one of the worst in the series. Coming in at my number 10, appropriately. Wait a minute. Coming in at my number 9, SmackDown vs. Raw 2010. Like you said, the only thing that was good about this was that it introduced the, story mode creator. But aside from that, the only person I wanted to use in the game was Jack Swagger, because this was back when I was a huge fan of Jack Swagger. But aside from that, I didn't really care about this game too much. I didn't have a whole lot of fun with it. I mean, I had fun with the story creator once I got my USB keyboard, but by the time I got a USB keyboard, it was 2013, so I don't know how much fun I had with it for too long. Coming up next was SmackDown vs. Raw, the original, just like you. I did like the fact that it had the superstar voiceovers for the first time, and you could choose whether you wanted to be a face or a heel during the match. But I mean, aside from that, I mean, this is where, like you said, the season mode started to go downhill a little bit, and it wasn't as fun. But, I mean, you still had the challenge mode, which is kind of fun, where you got to challenge legends and the Fulfill Your Fantasy matches. And plus, they kind of rebooted the commentary from the years prior to that. So I thought that's a tweak that they should add more often, is to reboot the commentary to make it more modern. Because the last couple of years, we've gotten the same fucking commentary from Michael Cole and the King on the WWE games. Coming up in my next pick, SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth. Again, this was a good game. The roster was fantastic. The roster was fun. And they made all the entrances fun. And like you said, the story mode was that much fun. But I don't know what it was that I just didn't like it as much as the rest of the games in my list, where I just can't rank it on top of any of them. So I'm going to go safe and say Shut Your Mouth. This was a fantastic game, but I just can't stick it any higher than its slot right now. So coming in next on my countdown, now that we're getting to the good part of this, barely edging out the rest of them to get the spot, WWE 12. This is a game that kind of reignited my interest in the WWE games. I mean, years prior to this, I was starting to lose faith. you know, the WWE product had gone down, the games had gone down. I had to start to get really bored of this stuff. And then WWE 12 came out, and I had a lot of fun with it. It was the debut of WWE Universe Mode. They shook up anything they could, and that might be one of the reasons that we consider 2011 one of the best years in WWE. I mean, probably one of the best years in the PG era. Hell, someone would say, I think I would say the best year of the PG era. And this might be one of the reasons why, is because it reignited the video game series that they so much desperately needed to reignite. Coming up next on my list, WWE 13. Now, this one tends to get overrated simply and only because CM Drunk is on the cover. But, I mean, this is one of the games where I can understand where the overratedness comes from. I mean, I could see that the roster was fucking great, except I was pretty pissed off that AJ was not on the roster. I had to download her my damn self. But, aside from that, you know, the Divas roster was pretty good. It was about as good as it could have been, I think. I mean, aside from AJ and Caitlyn not being there, I think it was pretty much as good as it could have been. The regular roster was fun, and they kind of added like another tweak to the WWE Universe mode where anything can happen. You can get attacked or something, and that's something that they didn't have as often as in WWE 12. I mean, you did get attacked every now and then, but it wasn't as fun as WWE 13 where it could literally happen at any given time. Plus, it was the video game return of Bork Laser, so that just made it that much more better. Coming in at my number 3, just barely getting beat out by the top two, SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. And the only reason that I don't rank it higher is because I didn't get it right away when it came out. You know, this was around the time that my PlayStation 2 got dieted, and I wanted an Hero because I didn't have a PlayStation 2. And, you know, my brother had just moved out. He had a PlayStation 2. He moved out. My PlayStation 2 got dieted. And all I got for Christmas that year was Armageddon 2005. So, I mean, God, that was miserable. But aside from that, you know, the roster is probably one of the best rosters ever. The GM mode, the only thing that I hated about the GM mode was that injuries and cost, you couldn't take them off like you could in SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. But that's the only thing that holds it back. That and the fact that during the season mode, the only storyline that, you know, they let you do was the one where Teddy Long gets run over and the one with Eugene on Raw. And I don't know. I didn't really like that. I didn't really like how they forced you to be a part of those two feuds every time you enter the season mode. I even tried to, like, change around my decisions. Like, I even tried to turn heel on Eugene, and even then it would end the same way. Coming in at my number 2, SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain. Brilliance. Brilliance in a video game personified. And there was one thing that I didn't like about Shut Your Mouth is that even though you had the creativity to go wherever you wanted, you couldn't really demand a championship match like you could on SmackDown or SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. Yeah. And then the money. I mean, the only thing that this game was missing was, you know, I was pretty pissed off when this happened, was that I saved up all my money to buy a legend. I bought The Undertaker, and then, you know, he came out with no music on one of those little rings that they use for WrestleMania 3. I thought that was pretty stupid. Like, they took away the innovative entrances, and they didn't even give him a theme. And, you know, I'm pretty sure, I even left my PlayStation on because I couldn't afford a memory card. I left it on for like 3 days straight to save up money to buy The Undertaker, just to have that. So if there was one problem with that game that I had, it was that. Coming in at my number 1, guys, you know, I looked at my database for my PlayStation 2, and I checked to see which games I played the most. Accumulated, no bullshit here, 37 hours in a span of 3 weeks. 37 hours. Try and picture that. That is almost 2 full days, guys, in 3 weeks. And this was back when I went to school and was on a soccer team. Keep that in mind. SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. Amazing. I mean, what more can you want in a video game? The rosters, the GM mode, the season mode, the soundtrack, everything about this game was epic. And, just like you had a problem with the Bellas not being on the original SmackDown versus Raw. I didn't like how AJ wasn't on this. I didn't like how Wade Barrett wasn't on this game. But damn it, I got over it really quickly. Because damn it, you could create your own fucking room where you would decorate it with whatever you wanted. You could do anything you wanted on that game. And it was just so much fun. And I really just, I even still play it to this day. And there's not a whole lot of games that I play from back then still to this day. I mean, the only other one I play is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas every now and then, but even that I don't play as much as I play SmackDown vs. Raw. It's 2007 to this day, and the reason that it's better than 06 is simply because on GM mode you can take out the injuries, you can take out the cost, so it doesn't cost you money to do steel cage matches. I just didn't like how they didn't let you do Hell in a Cell matches on main shows anymore, but I got over that. So much fun, so awesome, and just a fantastic game overall.